anything that gives us pleasure also can become addictive. I had within me a longing to be a doctor, to help people heal. So this longing was there from the age of 9, and it just kept getting louder and louder and louder. On the one hand, I could stay in my perfect life, baking cookies with my boys after school, watching cartoons, setting up play dates, taking them to soccer. But at the end of the day, I felt as if, especially looking back, that the decision had already been made for me. And my 9-year-old self knew it. So I went to medical school, and for the past 15 years, I've specialized in treating eating disorders and addictions. I've worked in treatment centers all over the country. I've been in some of the most popular, the most famous places where celebrities go.
And as someone who led our industry forward at a time when people didn't even really understand what integrative medicine was, this is a very, very special woman.
The stigma of addiction keeps a lot of people from seeking help. And now that we know from science, from true science, that addiction has its roots in trauma, and it has in genetics, and that it's a chronic brain disease. It doesn't have to be drugs. So you may be thinking, well, you know, I've never had a drug addiction. I don't even drink. But what about addiction to work? What about that morning cup of coffee that you have to have every day? Gambling, sex, you name it. Like, how many of you could go for a whole week without your phone or access to social media? Anybody? I rest my case. We need to start shifting the question from what's wrong with you? Because that's what the patients ask themselves, and that's what their family members say. Why can't you get it together? Your brother did. Why can't you get it together? We're shifting that question from what's wrong with you to what happened to you. And the next question should be, how can I help? Know that addictions really are based in trauma. And when I say addictions, I include process addictions like eating disorders. This restriction versus legalization. I think demonizing food any more than we already have is a mistake, and it does not serve our patients. There's also the influence of our culture. We can't minimize that. And the cultural ideal for women, at least in the Western world, has always been to be super thin and also always young. So it's kind of like the only way we're going to win is to find the fountain of youth and to stay skinny. But for men, there's more than the thin ideal. They do have the thin ideal, but they also have what we call the Adonis complex, where they want to look like the former Governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't think he looks like that anymore, though. Dr. Gabor Mate, addiction psychiatrist from Canada, has defined trauma as the loss of an essential part of yourself. A sense of peace, a sense of safety, a sense of trust or security. When a child under the age of 18 loses a sense of themselves, it changes the brain and it causes pain. So these adverse childhood experiences have been studied, and what they found is that there is a direct correlation between childhood trauma and then the later development of addictions, obesity, attention deficit disorder, and 40 other conditions, including medical diseases like heart disease and lung disease. The point is to really anchor yourself in the deepest way, which are the deeper urges of your soul, your spirit, your true, authentic self.